On episode 665 of the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we discuss self-love and why it's critical for health and fitness lifestyle change. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/665. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness, the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast is here for you. Each week, we dive deep into health and fitness topics that affect those of us over 40. I'm Coach Allen. I'm an NASM certified personal trainer with specializations in corrective exercise, behavior change, performance enhancement, and fitness nutrition. A Precision Nutrition Level 1 coach, a FAI certified functional age-linked specialist, and an OTA Level 2 online trainer. Each week, I'm joined by our co-host, Coach Rachel. She is an NASM certified personal trainer and a RRCA Level 1 run coach. Let us be your coaches as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Have you heard that one? It's true, except in the context of self-love, which we're discussing today. When you're gone, you're gone. That might seem a little morbid or maybe a bit dramatic, but it seems every week someone I know in my teens or 20s is no longer here. I remember being told we would live longer than our grandparents and parents, not if we don't take care of ourselves. I'm reopening enrollment in the 40 Plus Fitness Laser Coaching Program. This program is the most cost-efficient way I have to work one-on-one with you, to hold you accountable and give you the support you need to reach your health and fitness goals. And until November 15th, I'm going to drop the price back down to the founder's price. Go to 40plusfitness.com/laser and use the coupon code self-love to get $200 off. I'm only offering this to 12 people who are ready to stop playing at being healthy and fit and ready to get serious about it. 40plusfitness.com/laser and use the coupon code self-love to get the founder's price. Hey, Raz, how are you?
Good, Alan. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. It's funny. I got an email that one of the services I signed on for the podcast is coming up for renewal, and I'm like, I don't remember this service. So I'm going to go check out what they actually do for me. And it turned out that this was a service that basically accumulated all the reviews on the podcast and put them kind of all in one place. So if it's coming from different players that they're there, most of ours come from Apple anyway. So it really, the purpose of it, I remember I did it so that I would know the reviews that are out there and what was going on. And apparently it's not working the way I thought it was because I'd forgotten the service existed.
Right.
But we did get some reviews in, and so I appreciate the reviews. And if you haven't left a rating and review for this show, please do. We did get a bad rating. Someone doesn't care that I live in Bocas del Toro. And I'm like, okay. Well, the reason we have this little hello segment is really just to let people know that we live normal lives. We're not,
we're real people.
Because what's happened so much on the internet is you have these people that are basically, they look like they're living utterly perfect lives. They have no drama. They have no problems. They have no obstacles. They're not dealing with anything you're dealing with. And so those are what I call influencers that want to demonstrate a perfect lifestyle. And I'm here to tell you, I am flawed. Deeply flawed.
Both.
Right. And so that's, again, the reason we do the hello is just so we can connect with you. So you see who we are and realize that if Rachel and I can do this and do this consistently, you can do this consistently. We're no better than anyone else. So we just want to share, yes, we have other things going on that we could use for excuses or that would keep us from doing what we want to do. And yeah, I still want to play for the NFL. I can't do that. But, so there are things I can't do. I have to accept that and move on. And so what we just try to do with this is just show you that we're normal people. We're not these brainiacs. We're not these perfect people living perfect lives that most people like to depict on social media. And so this is the good, ugly, and the bad. And all of it mixed in together in a complicated
Right.
life that we all live. So I'm sorry that you don't want to know anything about where I live and what I do, but I'm still going to keep doing this. So
Awesome.
just skip forward about 3 minutes and we can get into the meat.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So, but if you haven't left the rating and review for the show lately, please do. It really does help. Show Apple, show Google, show whoever, Spotify, whatever, that you like the show and that there's some value there. So they'll introduce it to more people. But so thank you for that. Those that do, even if you don't like every bit of the show, there's still a lot of value here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so what's going on up there?
Not a whole lot. As a normal person, Mike and I took a camping trip over the weekend. We were camping out in part of West Michigan, Silver Lake, gorgeous area. It's perfect fall weather for camping, and that's just one of the things we like to do. So we had a good weekend of camping.
How far away is the maple?
Oh, yeah. We won't be doing anything for our maple syrup till the spring, but we actually do need a new burner. We have to buy a new barrel to burn or to boil the sap in. So we are getting our preparations together, and we'll probably mark some of the trees that we want to use for this spring. But other than that, that's about it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was earlier. It just seemed like it was always so cold there when you were doing it.
But, yeah. Well, it's about to get so cold here.
Yeah. Can't we do this when the weather's nicer?
Yeah. And it lasts a long time. So, yep.
Yeah. All right. So you're ready to talk about self-love?
Sure.
So today we're going to talk about a concept that doesn't really get talked about a lot in the health and fitness field, and that's self-love. It's talked about a good bit when we get into things like emotional eating and things like that and eating disorders. Self-love is brought up quite a bit, but I believe that this conversation relates to all health and fitness change. When I first started coaching, one of the questions I would always ask my clients is, do you love yourself enough to change? I thought it was an interesting question to get the ball rolling about understanding them and what they're going through so that I could coach them better. But I found a lot of times the answer was no, or I don't know. I got that a lot more than I expected. So I don't ask that question anymore, but I do listen to the language that my clients use, and I can usually pick up on some telltale signs when there's an issue. The reason I think self-love is such an important issue is because it was a big part of what happened with me. When I found myself significantly overweight and out of shape and miserable, I was in Puerto Vallarta on a beach vacation. I had forced myself to take this vacation, and I was there and tried to play some volleyball, and it didn't quite go very well. In fact, I had to sub out after the first game, and I was really disgusted with myself. And as I was sitting there thinking through what had happened the day before, like I said, I was just disgusted. And that phrase that hit me was this inner voice, and it was a fat bastard. That's what I felt like. That's what I related to. That was the voice inside of me, the self-talk. That's the language. That's who it was. And I didn't really recognize that was a problem. I just thought, okay, yeah, I'm being kind of harsh on myself, but I need to be because I'm not who I'm supposed to be. And as I went through the next 8 years trying to change, I carried him with me. I carried that negative self-talk and the lack of self-love with me. And to this day, I do believe that's a big part of the reason it took me so long to figure this all. I talk to a lot of people about where they are in the world and what they want to do. And really the first part of any solution is recognizing you have a problem. And for 8 years, I knew I had a problem. I didn't know that the problem was really me and my lack of self-love. I talk a lot about why, and why your why is very, very important. But my why, and whys often relate to other people. So when I first reflected on my why was my daughter, my relationship with my daughter. And while that was very, very important, it was also about my relationship with myself. I had no self-respect with regards to where I was in my life and how I was living. And it wasn't until I came to terms with that I really understood how important self-love was. All through the setbacks, and I had several setbacks over that 8-year period of time, I wasn't prepared to do what was necessary. Instead of just focusing on self-care long enough to get myself past that setback, I never really turned plan A on again. It was always setback and fallback. And I owe a lot of that to the lack of self-love, the fat bastard that was in my head talking to me all the time. The other thing that gets really, really difficult when you don't have self-love is overcoming obstacles. If we don't believe in ourselves, we're right. This was it Ford that said, "If you don't believe you can, if you believe you can, you're right." Something like that. I just butchered that. But the reality is, when we face an obstacle, and one of the solutions is quit, self-love is going to make quitting the most viable option for most of us, and that's unfortunate because a little bit of self-love goes a long way. But to beat the self-talk, the fat bastard or whatever you want to call him, you do have to develop some self-love. And so there's ways you can do this, actual measurable ways, activities you can do to kind of help you through developing some self-love. And I'd like to share those with you. The first one, and it might seem kind of silly at first, but it's a very powerful exercise. And it's about telling yourself that you love yourself. And so I've had clients, literally, I've asked them each morning when you get up, say, "I love you" to the mirror. At first, it seems a little silly, but over time, it becomes easier to say and it becomes more meaningful. And it's actually something that will put a smile on your face for the better part of your morning. So I encourage people to do this first thing in the morning and then last thing in the evening before you go to bed. Just look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself. That will go a long way. An alternative to this would be journaling. So keeping a journal and writing yourself a love letter, or just writing some things positive about yourself as a part of self-love, as a part of recognizing the value you bring as a human. Now, the other way that you can work on self-love is to build a kind of a posture of forgiveness in your life. So we are all going to slip up from time to time. That's just a normal thing. We're not perfect. And that's usually when that negative self-talk steps in and really becomes a problem for us. So I believe you have to forgive yourself, or you won't get past the slip. You'll stay in that slip, or you're more likely to slip again. And so I've got a 3-step process I call Slip to Success. You've probably heard me talk about this before, but if you haven't, I'll kind of lay it out here really simply. The Slip to Success model is a 3-step model. The first step is about forgiving yourself. You have to recognize you're human, and you have to recognize that you're fallible, and slipping is a normal part of learning. And so forgiving yourself is the big first step. Most people skip this. The second step is for you to learn from what you just did and think about strategies and tactics, ways that you can prevent this from happening, or at least limit the amount of times that this happens in the future. And then finally, the third part is to put that into action. Now, if you'd like a little bit more information on this Slip to Success process, you can download the free guide that I have. It's at 40plusfitness.com/slip. That's 40plusfitness.com/slip. That'll take you there. You can sign up and have that sent to you. It's a really simple process, but it's very, very powerful. So the next time you slip, you can slip to success. So go ahead and get that guide. The third way that you can help develop self-love is by tracking self-care on a calendar. Now, I had one client, Amy, who was really, really good at this. She kind of I gave her the idea. I actually got it from Tony Horton, but it's about tracking yourself and tracking what you're doing. Now, we all have trackers and gamification and different apps, but this is just old school, getting a paper calendar, and every day you do something for yourself. So maybe it's going for your 30-minute walk. Maybe it's having more vegetables each day, a certain number of servings of vegetables. But by marking that on your calendar each day, you are demonstrating a consistent pattern of self-love. Every time you do it, that's self-love. And what Amy did that was kind of above and beyond to this, which I think is so beautiful, was she bought these little heart stickers. So on her calendar each day she did her walk, she put a heart sticker on her calendar. And that kind of signified to her as she went through her day that she had taken the time to show herself love. And so by doing so, she was seeing a consistent pattern of love for herself that helped build her internal relationship. And then the fourth way is meditation. There's loving kindness guided meditations You can get those. They're on YouTube. A lot of the apps for meditation will have a love and kindness style meditation guided. It takes you through a whole process. Those can also be very good for you to build a pattern of self-love in yourself. And I would strongly encourage you to consider doing all of them. There's value to each and every one of these actions. Don't try to do them all at once, but pick one, start on it, then add the second one, and then build on that so that you have a consistent pattern of self-love throughout the year. Okay. Again, I just want to reiterate as we close this, because this will be a short episode. But look, if you want to change yourself, you've got to start with self-love. This is not going to come from other people. This is not going to come if you're not engaged and believe in yourself, if you're not pushing yourself through. And that's only going to happen if you can do it from a place of love. Okay. There are going to be setbacks and there are going to be obstacles. And that bad self-talk will always win if you're not using self-love to keep it in check. So forgiveness, passion, kindness, and just pushing through and realizing you are worthy, you deserve change, you deserve this. So showing self-love is going to help you build a pattern of resilience that helps you get through the setbacks and around and over the obstacles. And then finally, this process of developing self-love, it takes time and it takes effort. It's not something that's innate. Most of us will have some stories and some traumas in our lives that were a part of building this internal dialogue, and that is the way it is. And so we have to spend some time and effort to get it reset, to kind of get our brain thinking and acting a different way, and just generally being kinder to yourself. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, go ahead and send me an email. Coach at 40 Plus Fitness. I'd love to hear what your journey of self-love has been about. And if you have questions, again, I'm more than welcome to help you there. That's coach at 40plusfitness.com. Welcome back, Raz.
Hey, Alan, this is a really important topic, and there's a lot of different ways that we can approach this topic. But first and foremost, I want to highlight again what you said, that self-love is a practice. It is something that we need to do for ourselves on a daily or regular basis, sometimes more often than others. And the reason why I say that is because we do tend to have a lot of negative self-talk, and I've noticed it over the years. And I make a really cognizant effort to recognize when I'm saying something that's not so positive about what I'm doing or who I am. And then I work towards what do I need to do to change that. And it's taken me a while to recognize that some of the chatter in our head is just that. It's just negative chatter. And I mention this because I often tell my athletes, and a lot of my friends as well, that we are often our own worst critics. We often pick away at some of the things that make us good people. We're self-deprecating in ways that are not positive and not funny. And it's a bad habit. And it can be a big problem, especially in the light of being a healthy and fit person. So this is an important topic.
Yeah. And that's why I said at the beginning, it is really important to recognize that a lack of self-love is a problem, because most of us, that we don't really always know that. We just think, well, yeah, we screwed up and and then, like I said, the fat bastard's out again. And so we have to recognize there's a problem. And then the second thing is that while it could be important to have a coach that understands what self-talk means and what all this stuff means, they can only help you so far of saying, here's what I would do. Here's what it is. Like I gave you the list of things. This is a journey you have to take alone.
Yeah.
This is not something, and I've helped people in this area, but they had to do the work. It wasn't where I could say, just go love yourself. It doesn't work like that.
No.
It's a practice. It's a time. And it's building a relationship. It's almost the same as building a relationship with another person. It's just that other person's very mean and flawed. But it's conversations like verbally in the mirror. It could be journaling, all those different things, all these things, the slip to success model, those practicing that and doing that regularly. So you can see, I don't fail. I make a mistake. I forgive myself. And then I figure out a path forward so that
Yes.
I'm better about it the next time it comes around.
Hmm.
And you solve that problem, and then there's going to be another one. There's going
Right.
to be another one.
That's just how
And
life it is.
that's how we live our lives. So the
Hmm.
reality of it is there is no perfect on this earth. And
Hmm.
so as you just muddle your way through this, be kind to yourself.
Hmm. Well, that's a very good point and good phrase. Be kind to yourself. If you think about what kind of compliments do you pay your friends? And have you recently been with somebody who said, "Hey, nice shirt," or "Hey, great run today," or what do you say that's uplifting and encouraging and positive to your friends? Turn that around and say those same things to yourself. Chances are we don't normally say those types of things to ourselves. So that was a really hard run, or I didn't really like that, or my hair looks awful today, or something. But you do need to remember you need to pay yourself the same level of compliment as you do other people, and to speak to yourself in that same way.
Yeah, I had an example. I was coaching another coach. So I have another business that I coach coaches, and I was showing him my automation process for emails. And so when someone gets the quiz and does the things and
Hmm.
all that process, and he was looking at it, and his eyes kind of just glazed over, and he said, "How many years have you been working on this?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, just this one piece." I said, I did it just over the last couple of weeks. And he's like, "Oh my God." And I just took it for granted. This is what I have to do to run my business, to have things work the way I want. So I know who's who, and I can be effective at what I do. And
Hmm.
so I had never really given myself credit to realize the volume of some of the things that I accomplish in any given day or any given week. I just go through and get it done, and then I move
Hmm.
on. And just to
Hmm.
have someone else sit there and recognize the amount of work that got done, and then
Hmm.
that was, for him to think that it was years, that
Yeah.
it literally just took me weeks. But it was focused time. It was a lot of effort, but I just felt good for him to say that. And I was thinking I should
Hmm.
give myself some credit when I do things that actually work out and are actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
so yeah, that was just a story of something that just happened yesterday. The guy
Oh
was like, "Oh
gosh.
my God, how many years did it take you to do this?"
Sure.
I'm like, "Well, no, I didn't. I did that piece right there in about 2 or 3 weeks." He's like,
That's
"Wow."
pretty awesome. Well, it's important to recognize that you have these gifts and you have a talent that maybe you've taken for granted just because it's something that you do on a natural basis. And sometimes we don't get to see when other people are admiring something like that. And it's nice that you maybe gave him some inspiration to work on something for his own business.
Yeah. Well, there was another. We had one of the guests that Lula's, and he said something similar. He said, "So you must know how to fix everything." And I'm like, "No." I said, "I've gotten pretty good at our water pump because everything's broken at one time or another.
Oh
So I've had
gosh.
to deal with something here, and then I learned that, and then I did." So I said, "There's some basic stuff that yes, I can do now," but I said, "No, we call somebody. We always call
Hmm.
somebody." I said, "But if you want a website or you want to build some automations behind your business, is like, I understand that technology. I can do that thing, but yeah, get me behind a screwdriver and I'm dangerous."
Oh geez. Oh my goodness.
So
Well,
I've got skills, but not house skills. So it's, again, just having balance in your life and recognizing,
mhm,
okay, I can laugh at the fact that no, I never really made an effort to learn how to do those things
mhm.
that most men do. I was like, well, I can make more money when I was younger. I can make more money than I would pay the plumber. Um, in the hour that it take me to do it, the plumber will do it in 20 minutes. So
Right.
I'm like, I'm not going to spend an hour. I mean, because I changed out a toilet, just
Oh.
the little wax thing in the toilet, right?
Mhm.
I needed to change that out. Of course, I go to Home Depot. The first one I buy is too big.
Oh my
So I have to go
gosh.
back to Home Depot and buy another one. And so, because I didn't know they came in different sizes. So I go back and buy another one. I bring that back because the first one's ruined after you set the toilet on. So now I bring another one and do it. It took me 6 hours to change
Mhm.
out that ring. Okay.
Mhm.
A year later, we had another toilet go out and we called a guy. He did it in 10 minutes, literally.
Of course.
And there was no mess. Like I had water
Yeah.
everywhere and he just bloop, 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 done out. And
Mhm.
I was like, okay, that's how I'm doing it from now on.
There you go.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's just recognize, okay, yeah, that's not my strength, but I have some. I have a couple.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah,
I'm
for
just gonna
sure.
lean in on those and make that my thing and be happy with what I've got. Again, I'm not in the NFL. that's
Mhm.
okay. I did other things I'm proud of. So,
Right. I
yeah.
think that's an important thing to recognize where your talents are and also how they changed over time. Going back to health and fitness, where we stood in our 20s going to the gym, torturing ourselves on gym equipment to get skinny is completely different from where I am today in my 50s trying to stay strong, to protect my muscle and bone density and it's just a total different mindset. I go to the gym because I love it now, not because I hate what I'm staring at in the mirror. I mean, it's a total change in attitude and it's partially because of self-love. You have to remember that you're doing these things because you love yourself. Your body can do some amazing things. I can't run the Boston Marathon. I don't have the speed for that, and that's okay.
We
But
just
I
have to
can
live
do
till we're
other things.
110. We live to
Right.
110. By
I can age
100%.
into it. I can age into it. As long as I'm taking good care of my body in the
Yeah,
meantime. But I mean, that's just how it is. And you just need to love yourself for what you can do, not for what you can't, for what you do look like, not for what you don't look like. So, I mean, self love is just behind all of what we're doing.
I agree. All right. Well, I'll talk to you next week.
Great. Take care, Alan.
You too.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you would, please leave us a rating and review on your podcast player of choice. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, which happens to be episode 666, we discuss some scary stuff for Halloween. Until then, have a happy and healthy week.